Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. It's Monday, that means it's countdown day. All the votes have been cast. They've all been counted. They've all been amassed to bring to you the top 10 G1 / Beast Wars Japanese created characters. These are the ones that started their existence, not to say that they haven't been adapted to fiction outside of Japan, but they certainly got their start in series such as Beast Wars 2 and Beast Wars Neo, Transformers Victory, Headmasters, Masterforce, and of course Zone, for example. So a lot of those characters now have gained a cult following outside of Japan, but they all got their start, they all got their personality, they all got their beginnings within the country of Japan. And the top 10 best Japanese created Transformers, that's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is a really interesting one. It was fan suggested, and it is the top 10 kind of Japanese original, I suppose we'll say, Transformers characters. Some of these have been adapted to other cartoon series and whatnot, like outside of Japan. Some of them have been adapted to comic books and whatnot. But they all got their humble beginnings within the section of the Transformers franchise that originated there. And there were a lot of great characters that got votes. Of course, as you know, we always begin with our honorable mentions. We have two this time around. One is very clear. It's Heinrad, or Heinlad as some people prefer to pronounce it. He is the, is he a bear, a raccoon, Tanuki, is that what it's called? He's the dude that got the clock in his chest or in his tummy, right? We all know who I'm talking about. Brilliant transformation, actually. A really, really good Beast Wars character. One of the best molds, I would say, of that era, because a lot of them have a ton of kibble that really sort of hinder stuff, but not him. He has actually a lot of like clear mobility. His alt mode is a little weird, but he's a great character. The other one, I think, is a little bit debatable, and it's Six Shot. The argument could be made, well, did Six Shot begin in kind of the Rebirth first or begin in Headmasters first? I would say that that's somewhat concurrent. I would certainly say his best known iteration, and a lot of what his fiction goes based on, is his most popular iteration, which would be from the Headmasters series, where he not only takes all of his 6 modes, but he's sort of really established as a ninja, and we learn a lot more about his personality and some of his special abilities, such as all the holograms he can project, right? So, yeah, those two are the honorable mentions. Heinrad and Six Shot, I think that that's great. But, of course, they didn't make the actual list. Who did? Well, you know what we're going to do. We're going to kick things off with number 10 first. And coming in at number 10, we have a character that, honestly, is probably the most annoying character in all of Transformers. If not the most annoying, then second only to Wheelie. And it's Beast Wars Neo Stampy. Now this is a KO of Stampy that I got actually from Maximal 10 for Christmas of 2022, and it's actually not a bad mold, to be honest with you. So Stampy, and I said he's annoying. To me, he's annoying. Stampy is basically a coward. He's not a good warrior. He's not big on battle. He's a great scout because he has these great big ears to hear things with. He's fast. He can hop away from danger. He can gather information pretty non-conspicuously because his rabbit mode is fairly small compared to some of the other alt modes. And he gets a lot of valuable information that he's able to bring back. He's nice, he's likable, but he is a coward. He does have the ability to turn into a pair of scissors, and apparently his ears become like these diamond sharp blades. It's the weirdest thing. It is the strangest thing. But Stampy, for as annoying as he is to some, he has kind of a great reputation for being a fantastic scout. Sort of picture if, say, Rat Trap was a coward. Well, more of a coward than Rat Trap is. And you got Stampy. I kind of feel bad for Big Convoy having to mold this into something useful as a maximal. Nevertheless, a lot of fans at least remember Stampy. He's at least significant enough to get votes, and he got enough of those votes to make the number 10 slot. Number 9 takes us to the Headmasters and everybody's favorite Headmaster Jr., that being Minerva. Minerva, by rights, is the head, even though this version of her, the legacy version, isn't a headmaster. But by rights, Minerva is a human. She is the head of the larger Transtector. She really wanted to kind of like fight evil, so that's sort of why she wanted to be part of the Autobots. She is the daughter of a Japanese ambassador, and I believe she's half French. I don't think it's Spanish because she's blonde. Half French, I think. Half British? I'm not sure. Half Belgian? Maybe it's French, maybe it's Belgian. I'm not sure. On one of her parents' sides, I'm going to say her mother's. I'm going to say it's her mother's side. And it's either French or Belgian. I'm not sure. If somebody knows for sure, hey, put it in the comments. She is somewhat a little naive and a little idealistic. She doesn't really like battle that much, though she does have the kind of vicious shock blaster, which basically, I think, like paralyzes other bots. And in essence, what she really is a medic. She can be a medic to some bots when she's all in this mode, but more often than not, she likes to be a medic to humans who are affected by the Transformers war, the Autobot Decepticon war, and how it sort of affects humans. So she's definitely somewhat idealistic and naive, but she has a lot of heart, and in the end, she really does mean well and want to do well and help the good guys' cause. Enough people, I guess, find that admirable that voters felt that she deserved to be on the list, and she took the number 9 slot. Number 8 takes us all the way back once again to Beast Wars Neo and the Maximal Leader himself, this guy, Big Convoy. And Big Convoy is quite stoic. He's a one-man arsenal. He has the big cannon, the Matrix Buster. Even Vector Sigma speaks to him through the Energon Matrix, I can't exactly remember what it's called. He has little patience, he is somewhat brutal, he is very militaristic in his demeanor and in his nature, and the Convoy Council, of course, tasked him with kind of preparing the, like, new Maximals, the young Maximals, to become Ferris warriors just like he is. But of course, while he's teaching them a lot of lessons about combat and battle, they teach him lessons about how to be a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder, and a bit of a team player. Very interesting dynamic between Big Convoy and his team. But when push comes to shove, if you want someone to back you up, it's going to be Big Convoy. And because of that power, because of the fact that he is that one-man arsenal that you can always call upon, voters thought that he deserved to be on the list for best Japanese created Transformers characters, and for that reason, Big Convoy himself takes the number 8 slot. Now number 7 takes us to Zone and Dai Atlas. Yeah, Dai Atlas, the Autobot Supreme Commander. Long story short, I guess, because we don't have a ton on Dai Atlas. He is very principled, has a lot of morals, stands by his code. Luckily, his code also means that he, I guess, seeks to protect civilians wherever they come from. He's willing to fiercely go into battle, but would rather avoid it if he could. He can combine with Sonic Bomber or Road Fire to become either sky-powered or land-powered or big-powered, because he's a powered master. He is basically the guy who takes over leadership of the Autobots from Starsaber. And, I mean, the things that he's willing to go up against is astonishing. A lot of Autobot leaders have gone up against a lot of abominations over time, but perhaps none is so vile as Vile and Jiger, who is made up of really the, deceased, unhappy, vengeful spirits of other Decepticons. I mean, man, what a wild Emperor of Destruction. And this guy, the new Autobot leader, yeah, he was all in to try and ensure that Decepticon tyranny did not reign across the universe once again. Voters respect that, I respect that, and for that reason, Dai Atlas takes the number 7 slot. at number 6 is, I think, one of the greatest character arcs, one of the greatest stories told within Transformers, being this guy, God Ginrai, or God Ginrai. Depends on how you pronounce it. I've heard it done both ways, and I don't really know what the official is, to be honest with you. I'm sure you probably do. But since I've heard it both ways, I don't know. I tend to say both. I mean, this is a character who started out as a human, a truck driver, and ends up kind of becoming bonded with a transtector that looks like famed Autobot leader Optimus Prime. Not the same guy, though a lot of people would say, hey, this is, Power Master Optimus Prime, because that's what it was in North America, and I get it. But for Japan, it was a completely different character. Really, that was an homage to Optimus Prime. He bonded with the cab that was the transtector that looked the most like Optimus, but then realized that that cab can join with the trailer and become Super Ginrai, and then that can join with God Bomber to become God Ginrai, and then that can even evolve a little bit to become Fire Guts God Ginrai. The guy ends up going from being a human truck driver to really defending the entire universe against some of the biggest threats from the Decepticons, not limited to, but including Overlord, a very dangerous one in and of himself, and of course Devil Z, who really ends up kind of taking over the body of Black Zarak. I mean, a lot of some of the most formidable Decepticon monsters were thankfully stopped by this guy. Not to mention that later on in the Japanese G1 continuity, he even gets a new body and a new upgrade as Victory Lio in order to combine with Star Saber to become Victory Saber. I mean, going from being a human truck driver all the way to being Supreme Commander of the Autobots, all the way to all of these upgrades to getting an entirely new body, because of course, by the end of Masterforce, Ginrai really becomes like, not the human connected to the Transtector. The Transtector becomes his own sentient thing, and then that sentient thing becomes Victory Lio. I mean, it's a wild ride from human to independent robot to an independent robot with a new body that can combine with the next successive leader of the Autobots. It's a great, great character arc. It's a great, great story of heroism. And for that reason, Ginrai, in all of his forms, takes the number 6 slot. And now a big hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the most coveted of locations, the ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, I think we may very well have the most dangerous of all Decepticon combiners with Liokaiser. This, of course, is my custom Liokaiser, and I love this guy. So, Liokaiser. Yes, he is kind of like an unstoppable killing machine, but he's also smart, intelligent. He can plan, he can strategize. When it comes to hand-to-hand combat, he's pretty much unparalleled, and he's capable of besting Landcross, Road Caesar, Galaxy Shuttle, and even Star Saber himself. The only ones that I don't think he can beat is Deathsaurus, his leader, and probably the combined mode of Victory Lio and Star Saber as Victory Saber, maybe. But, if you see him coming, it's going to be dangerous. Plus, there's all of the little minion partners, all the chest partners, that also adds more danger to the guy. Because while you're trying to contend with this combiner, all the little minion partners could easily be flying around you, causing other troubles. He has long range attacks, he has short range attacks. Liokaiser may be the most dangerous of all Decepticon combiners from any era. And when you mix that danger with a well-known character made up of several other popular characters, it was bound to make the list, and Liokaiser takes the number 5 slot. And here we are in the top 4, and at number 4 we once again go back to Beast Wars Neo, and this guy. That's right, it's Magmatron, the guy with the mitotic spark. It means basically he can split into 3 dinosaur body modes. And I think they're called like Land Source and Sea Source and Sky Source, and they join together to become Magnasaurus, which is like a Goliath and a Colossus. He himself, much like Big Convoy, is very militaristic in his thinking. He knows where he fits into like the hierarchy of the Predacon military. It's very interesting if you compare this guy to like Megatron, for example. Megatron, like the pure rebel and really abusive to his underlings, and you know, he wanted unbridled power. Magmatron is more cunning. He is more of a planner. Like, he knows where his current power is. He knows where he wants to be. And he realizes you got to work through the proper channels to get there. He does kind of elicit some loyalty. If not loyalty, then enough fear with a touch of respect that his underlings do pretty much follow him unwaveringly. He is an absolute colossus and threat of himself, which I guess he would need to be able to go toe-to-toe with the awesome big convoy. He is a very interesting take on a Predacon leader. Maybe a little too formal for some people's taste, but when I see this guy, I kind of think of a mix. For people that don't know Magmatron, I kind of think of a mix of maybe like, I guess, Megatron's planning, scheming, and cunning mixed with Tarn's sense of, I guess loyalty, not overzealous loyalty, but loyalty and structure and professionalism, right? It's a weird mix of, you know, being cunning and scheming, but also like working within the structure and being very disciplined in your approach. Magmatron, a deep character, an interesting character, and one that is threatening enough, one that is formidable enough that fans felt he deserved to be on the countdown, and that's why Magmatron takes the number 4 slot. At number 3, we take a foray back into Beast Wars, but this time it's Beast Wars 2 with Lio Convoy. A lot of people know this as Lio Prime, but it started as Lio Convoy. It is basically the maximal leader that follows Optimus Primal, and before Big Convoy. And again, like, he's very disciplined, he's very militaristic, he sort of has to learn how to really sort of care for his team. It's not that he doesn't care for them, it's just he's very focused on by the book, and he sort of has to learn that, you know what, there's more than just rules and by the book. There's a heart that goes into all of this. And he does evolve and develop that as it goes. He certainly has an affinity for a number of Beast Wars 2 characters, not the least of which is Lio Jr., who really kind of idolizes and looks up to Lio Convoy to no end. As the series evolves, we learn so much more about the heart, or the spark, if you will, of this character. And by the end, he really kind of proves himself to be one of the most capable, one of the most caring, and one of the most effective, I suppose we'll say, maximal leaders. Certainly one to be respected. Enough fans respect Lio Convoy that he was able to garner enough votes to take the number 3 slot for Best Japanese Created Transformers. And coming in at number 2, we have the absolute top Decepticon villain on this list. We have, honestly, I would say one of the top Decepticon villains of all time with Overlord. Yes, Overlord. Considering in Masterforce that the, you know, leader of the Decepticons in essence was like an alien entity, this guy really sort of stood in, I think, in a lot of people's minds as like the main big baddie of the Decepticons, right? A Power Master, if I'm not mistaken, or sorry, a God Master with 2 Master Bots, that being Giga and Mega. Giga controls like the tank and Mega controls the jet. They go together to make Overlord. The guy has like a weapons factory in his body. He's a walking arsenal, pretty much impenetrable to anything. It can stand up really against pretty much anyone, having a legendary showdown with God Ginrai, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot here to be scared of when he comes rumbling, thundering onto any battlefield, because what's going to follow is going to be a swath of destruction unparalleled. Overlord, one of the most capable, most dangerous Decepticons, because he is the epitome of a one-man walking arsenal, a one-man walking army, or one-bot walking army, if you will. The Goliath, the Colossus known as Overlord, takes the number 2 slot. And here we are once again at number 1. This is number 1. This is the top Japanese original Transformers character. This is the one that started its life in Japan, that got fleshed out in series over there, has been adapted somewhat successfully, somewhat unsuccessfully ever since. It's even had its name, this character has even had its name used and applied to something totally different. I'm talking, of course, about Star Saber. Yes, this is actually Victory Saber. I just didn't want to take the Victory Leo parts off, but the votes were really for Star Saber. Not gonna lie, there were a couple of votes for Victory Saber specifically. I just lumped them in with Star Saber. And yeah, Star Saber in Transformers Victory, he is the leader of the Autobots. I mean, he ends up in Zone, kind of handing that leadership over to Dai Atlas. But for the time that he's there, I mean, Jan is like his adopted son. He loves Jan like a son. He is very capable with his sword. He is big. He is intelligent. He is respected. He is skillful. He is one of the best swordsmen across all of the cosmos, and he's someone that the Autobots can look up to and revere because he has the stature, he has the presence, he has the mindset, and he has the charisma of an effective leader. If anybody was going to kind of follow in the footsteps of Optimus Prime to become the next great leader. And don't get me wrong, there were some great ones that followed his footsteps. Some people would point to Rodimus Prime, some people would point to Fortress, some people would point to God Ginrai. But a lot of people say that after Optimus, the next best, biggest, most prolific Autobot leader was Star Saber. Whether you agree with that or not is irrelevant because the voters felt that way. And by far, in droves, they felt that way. Enough that with a very wide margin, Star Saber was able to take the #1 slot for best Japanese originally created Transformers. Man, what an awesome wild list, going from 10 down to 1 once again, all over the kind of Transformers lineage coming out of Japan. I mean, we had 3 entries from Beast Wars Neo with Stampy, Big Convoy, and Magmatron. We had Beast Wars 2 represented with Lio Prime, or Lio Convoy, if you will. I mean, we have Victory with Star Saber. We had what else did we have here? We had Masterforce with Overlord and Liokaiser and God Ginrai. We had Dai Atlas from Zone. It was great. Other ones that got votes but didn't appear on the list: Black Zarek, Star Convoy, who essentially I suppose is a version of Optimus Prime, but the whole Star Convoy evolution was a creation coming from Japan. Browning, Arcadis, Leozak, as well as Hellbat, each got votes of their own. Raiden got some votes. Sky Gary got some votes. Victory Leo got some votes by himself. I don't know, what else do we have here? Piranacon got some votes. Scylla did, who is a member of God Neptune got some votes. Metalhawk got some votes. Sound Blaster and Twincast both got votes. Death Source got some votes. I'm shocked that Death Source didn't actually appear on the list. Dino King got some votes. I was really happy to see that. I love me some Dino King. Sparkle got some votes. If you get the Sparkle reference, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Apache got some votes. And I hope I'm saying this right. I think I'm saying this right. Kurata. I think he's a snake, right? I think he's a cobra, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, those and more, so many great characters began their existence in Japan. I mean, Galaxy Shuttle is another perfect example. It's so funny. A lot of times we hear the excuse, the story that, oh, well, these characters coming out of the Japanese fiction aren't well known elsewhere around the world, so you know what? They probably wouldn't sell very well. I think that the existence of things like Minerva and how well she kind of did, and oh my goodness, Galaxy Shuttle, Overlord did really well. You know, like, I think that there's a market for it. I would love personally to see all of those classic series remastered, adapted, you know, not just redubbed, but like adapt the script a bit so that it seems more natural to audiences outside of Japan, right? I feel like that if you just remastered and kind of polished those scripts a little bit, man, oh man, you want to talk about great fiction that would open up a whole new world of characters and a whole new lineage to follow. Man, oh man, I would love to see it, and who knows, maybe one day we will, but for now, we'll be very happy that these characters exist at all, and we will thank the creators that came up with them, coming out of all of these great Japanese series. Let me know if your favorites made the list or not. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Don't forget, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us here on the channel, and especially remember, whether you feel it or not, whether you believe it or not, I'm telling you right now that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the video.